will disappear their steak well done. So people want this.
Hell yeah, because we want to make sure that the animal's dead, and B, that it's not like fucking contaminated. Because people get all kinds of like food poisoning and shit.
Segue into the vaccine. This is such a perfect segue.
I'm risk averse. I'm gonna make sure that motherfucker's dead. Motherfuckers still want the animal dying on their plate.
So what we have right now in the situation pretty much is like the vaccines going on, but I want to give context to the situation because I know a lot of people are really scared about this vaccine. How the fuck did they come up with like this like global pandemic vaccine with less than 6 months? Usually when it comes to like any kind of medication, Tylenol or like a polio vaccination, it takes like a year or so to see like the effects afterwards. After you give the trial vaccination, the trial version of it, the placebo and the trial version, you see the effects of it after 6 months and a year, and then you give it to like a bunch of people. But it seems like
between like 4 and 5 stages of trials. It takes much longer.
This vaccine happened whippity split. It happened real quick, but at the same time, that's what makes people uncertain. And also, Black people of color, when we've been like, we in the middle of the night, we're just sleeping with our family. We got taken away, putting on ships, butt naked. We got put butt naked on ships, and then got forced to work for free. And sometimes we got sick when we got work for free. And like, here, this works, and then take our fucking ears, and then they wear our ears as an experiment. So, I mean, you can read a book and see this stuff. This is what happens in kind of early medicine history. You can watch a Showtime show like Knickerbocker that shows how to treat Black people, just taking our body parts apart. So this is why people are afraid of the vaccine on that kind of cultural, societal.
The most infamous being the Tuskegee experiments.
But at the same time, you have the situation when like the wealthy, the vaccine is that limited to the point.
If I donate, fuck out of here. Donate.
This is how limited. I want people to see the context. This is how limited the vaccine is right now. Even the rich people are scrambling for the vaccine right now. They can't get the vaccine as easy, as like Mike Pence or like the guy who got airflow of like tube, whatever was going on. So people are offering tens of thousands of dollars in cash, making a personal assistance peasant like this, like harass doctors every day, and asking whether $25,000 donation to a hospital. Now they care about the vaccine. Now they care about COVID-19. So we just got. I want to check in with Twitch and Facebook, and we just got the situation here. That's the thing. Vaccines are taking like if you're a kid and you go to public school and like in New York City, you have to take at least 10 vaccines to walk in the door in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
That's a kind of everyday life if you go to school in New York City in public school. So shout out to Twitch for saying that, that kind of example. But at the same time, we have really wealthy people who hire like kind of like, concierge doctor assistants who help them get the most pristine elite care, in the world. And they pay these people like $2,000 to $10,000 a year for personalized care to get them the best care, experimental best care in the world.
They even had a show. About that on USA Network. I forget what it was called, but it was basically like this doctor guy that, he would do house calls on like super rich people.
Yeah.
He actually made a television show out of that. With Blind Bad in the chat talking about how it normally takes 10 years to be approved. So I'm kind of on the fence with it, right? For me, they're saying, well, it normally takes this amount of time to get these vaccines approved. But on the other hand, they are using a completely different technology with, it's called the mRNA vaccine or messenger RNA, where, they're injecting a string of proteins that send a command to your body to, create these different kinds of antibodies without the body ever actually being exposed to the virus. So I would be more skeptical than I am now if it was your traditional vaccine where they inject a weakened or deadened version of the virus into your body because you're actually putting the virus into the body. With these vaccines, they're claiming that, they are just basically hacking your body or allowing your body to hack itself with this line of code, so to speak, without actually putting the virus.
Yeah, but there's also the fact that people like, like microscopically focus on this one vaccine. That you want to focus on the other vaccines, you're gonna creep out on other things. Or I really want to like pull up this next article. The Vatican is stepping in. This is how crazy the situation is. The Vatican's like, yo, ha 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 ha, like some Jesus Vatican shit. Even the Vatican is saying like, hey,
they're asking for money though, right?
They always ask for money. They got their own banks, the Knights of the Templar. So pretty much what's going on with the vaccine, the Vatican says getting the COVID vaccine is morally acceptable. The Catholic Church says researchers' use of cell material derived from fetuses does not amount to cooperating with abortion. So pretty much,
is that actually what they did though?
Yeah, that's what they did. Some of the vaccines, where they use aborted feces, the tissue from aborted feces, that make the vaccine right now. So a lot of people, that's going to come up too. The religious aspect is going to come up. It's going to come up like a wildfire. Right now, it's just a little kind of article that I can't click because I'm not subscribed to The Guardian, but because like how media is right now.
Oh no, you just click on I'll do it later and it might come up.
You think so? Okay, here we go. So right now the Vatican has urged Catholics to get vaccinated against the coronavirus and said it's morally acceptable to take the vaccine that use cell lines from aborted fetuses. So this is kind of breaking news as well. This is like a cultural
this is when you find out whether people will actually live by their Bible principles or if they're going to try to rationalize around something that goes directly against what they believe. Because I don't care what anybody says, right or wrong. If you're part of that religion, you're supposed to reject that just based upon the fact that it has something to do with abortion, right? So, of course, when they think that they're about to die from a disease,
that's the thing. That's what people read. I mean, I grew up in the church, Dr. Eugene. So that's
where I came from.
I led Bible studies and stuff like that, and I said sermons. I was going to be like some indoctrinated, weird fascist Christian fascist person.
Same here.
So like I just feel like that's the way you interpret it. You want to interpret it in a fundamental level. People can interpret it in a fundamental level and still drive a Ferrari.
Exactly.
And fuck people and pay for someone else's abortion and still preach to 2,000 people every Sunday.
Do you remember that dude when they had that massive storm and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to let anybody into my mega church, even though that's what the church is supposed to be for."
He received a large payout in the bailout.
And that too. That is also true.
Which we're going to get into in the next
Dash and Bash.
Dash and Bash.
Religion edition.
The religion edition. So, but that's what's going on. Like people have a major distrust with the vaccine. There's a distrust with the vaccine. There's also like a mass scramble for the vaccine and the level that like.
Yo, look at the chat. Look at the chat. Look at what Blind Bash said in the chat.
Yeah, you can't buy a Ferrari for $600.
Yeah, we're gonna be touching on what we can get for $600.
Oh, so we have Slavic. Oh, this is great. Slavic Spoken just said, I found a Dyson Supersonic high drive for under $600.
Under $400.
Under $400. So hopefully people, that's when we get into our next
get wild, people.
That's what we're gonna get our next section about what you can do with your $600.
I did spend almost $600 on a Dyson vacuum though.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, over a year ago. I don't regret. It was pre-COVID, but I don't regret.
It's one of the ones that have like that swivel head. You can swivel it. It's like kind of like a.
We got the one that like plugs into the wall. That shit is powerful as fuck.
Oh, you don't have
that shit will make your carpet like raise up and praise Jesus. I swear to God.
So we're gonna go into. So that's the virus segment. Hopefully, people get really study what's going on, not just like follow like what your friend from high school posts on Facebook about the vaccine or about what's going on with coronavirus. Actually look up what's going on, not just listen to Cuomo or not to listen to like Biden. Actually really look into what's going on.
Talk to experts if you can,
because it's happening at all kinds of levels. You can look at doctors in Korea, you can look at doctors in Australia, you can look at doctors in Germany. You can look at how they're like keeping it back, even though the numbers are high, but it could be far worse in South Africa, how they're like still maintaining the infection rate on the low level there. It could be crazy there. So you can look at all different levels. You can look at Brazil, how they still have a Trump who's still he's not going to get the vaccine, the president of Brazil.
Yep.
So you need to really get a context of the virus. And here at Black Power Magic Hour next year, that's what we're going to do. And also hopefully we have really get into the vaccine next year. We really want to, like, right now we can't talk about it as much, but really want to talk about the vaccine and the
with people that know what they're talking about. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to do next year.
You know what's really funny too? When you look at all the so-called Republicans that are all, I don't believe in this or that because of the Democrats, we have to remember that the United States is not the only country on planet Earth. So if we look at all the places you just talked about and seeing that they're going through the same exact thing, no, this is not a conspiracy created by the Democrats. Everybody on planet fucking Earth is going through this shit.
And I didn't even mention India and Black Power Magic Hour. We will cover India. I had to stop using, honestly, Dr. Vijay, I had to stop using the clips from that news channel because the last clip we showed, they kept calling the coronavirus the Wuhan virus. And it's still
that's where it came from. I mean, remember the American flu epidemic of 1918?
They were going like how it's China's fault and like how China.
Oh, but remember that they're basically in a Cold War right now. India and China right now. They're in a Cold War right now.
Yeah. So their media coverage was getting way more like fuck China, like fuck you. That wasn't how that's gonna like. With our American audience, how that's
and that woman said that shit real smoothly too.
Like we're gonna get it, but I don't know how our audience, everyone else, like we need to have someone from India to talk about that. You know,
in India they don't call it COVID-19. Did you see how smoothly she called it Wuhan virus? As if that is the official name of that shit. I was like, damn. Word to Baby Yoda over my shoulder. God damn.
Yeah, so that's the virus segment. Follow us on Twitch and Facebook, and also on act.tv and YouTube. We have over 46,000 subscribers, and they also follow Dr. Regis on his Twitch and Facebook and YouTube. He goes live all the time, every day. So that's the virus segment.